So Chapter 4 of E.N.D dropped, and we got some very fascinating information about one of our, I'd like to say, our next protagonists to say, and there is some weird, maybe involving time travel or seeing into the future, but there is a lot of things that's being trying to set up right now, and the fact that E.N.D has something to do as well with the fact of this series. It isn't just whether or not this is a place, whether or not it's an event. We don't know as of yet, but we need to talk about why Steiner, and I think we need to talk about where some people were freaking out about in this chapter as well, with a little bit of the old, good old Hiro Mashima traditional little edginess on there, although I will say it's not as bad as what some people were dragging it out to be. So, first thing, we got a really nice color page and all that, where we got to see, like, I like that this is how we get to see, like, Rebecca's version of doing just her YouTube channel. Like, obviously, I think it's going to change later on, like, to different things, but it's like, I like the fact that, for the most part, it's like, this is what pretty much she's been doing. She's been doing, like, Let's Plays and stuff like that. Like, she's been, like, oh, let's play, like, some racing games and stuff like that. And, of course, like, she's still keeping to the whole cat thing and all that with the Owl Neko shit. And it's like, I'm like, sure, why not? That's a fun little color page for the most part. And we get a nice little exploration, like, immediately at the start of the chapter, is we get to see a lot of the ship. We get to see a little bit around it, saying, this is the guest room, this is where you're going to be staying in here. Like, Shiki having no idea that, like, males and females, like, say, sleep separately and all that, and he's like, can we just sleep in the same room? Isn't this kind of just awkward? It's like, no, you moron. Like, he, again, Shiki is just like, he just doesn't get it at all, and it's like, more importantly, the most stupidest decision that they could have decided, where it's like, oh, I know, let's have Shiki pilot the ship, because they say it's on autopilot and all that, and it's like, we can go to our destination that way, and it's like, let me pilot it, and immediately Rebecca's like, I can get some footage from that, and I can, like, title it, like, Total Amateurs Pilots His First Spaceship. Moments later, crashes at Planet Nouma, which there's been some mistranslations to this name. Like, a lot of people have been saying that, although they've been calling Nouma, it's like been technically his name is supposed to be like Planet River or Planet like Lake. It's like how it's being described anyway, and like obviously from what we've seen from like what like Crimson's been describing it, is that this planet is already dead, which could be setting some stuff up exactly with what's happening as well to this place. And we get later on that, you know, like Rebecca and everyone are like arguing at the moment. It's like, you know, I can't believe you. You crashed the ship. You're a moron. I hate you, Shiki. And it's like, but you got some sick footage. And Rebecca's like, hell yeah, I did. And I'm like, really? This is where we're going. This is where we're going right now. Like that. I got, like, Rebecca's like, God damn it, you're right. I got that. I might be able to upload that footage. I can get some stuff out of that. And this is where we decided to talk about one thing I wanted to know about, and that's how the fuck does Ether work? How does, like, the whole Ether gear thing work around with Shiki? And it's just like, you know, I've made you lighter, I've made everything around light and all that, and it's just like, I can pretty much make a lot of things. This helps a lot with getting any objects and all that, and it's like, that Ether is a thing that works around, like, on the planets as well. Like, certain planets could have certain elements to it, as we see with Nouma. It is a one that specializes in Earth Ether, and, like, it was describing that, like, we see these crystallized, like, rain droplets for the most part just hitting down. It was like, it's just smashing the planet apart and all that, and then over time, the crystals that penetrate the surface become pretty much the ground, and it's like, we see little small things and all that. It's like, look at that thing, it fell over from the sky like time and time ago, and like immediately this is where Shiki's like, what the hell is Ether then? Like, and it's like, you use an Ether gear and you don't know, and it's like, it's the source of all power, and it presents in humans, assets, machines, everything. And this is where they get that little drop of saying, this is pretty much what we call, like, think of it as magic, which in turns we're going with the same theory, so like a concept where it's like, think of it as like, it is the natural flow of like kind of everything that goes around on there. And even Rebecca describes the Happy Blasters can use this as well. They shoot ether from their bullets and all that. It's not such a hard thing to everyone to use and all that, since everyone has it. But ether gear works a little differently because you can rearrange the flow of the ether. Think of this as like as Look from Magi and all that, with like Magoi and stuff, like where it is resides in one body, and a human being can, depending on the scenario, can manipulate it to pretty much bring out these sort of like powers and all that. However, you can rearrange the flow of this, so instead of like what Rebecca does, where she's just firing from the pistols and kind of like it's draining her out of it for the most part, he can manipulate, hence why he was able to change the flow of his body into, say, like, making him float, or using it to say, like, what he did with Italy, and, like, what he did with everyone else. Like, or, like, when he lived in that body right now. He's just been unconsciously doing this ability, for the most part, and, like, they can make it say, like, so what, I'm a robot magician? And it's like, yeah, you're pretty much a robot magician, screw it. Like, they did so much with this and all that. It's like, how the hell did this planet, like, survive, then, if it's gonna keep raining down? And a little clever thing that they did is, like, they built the city underground. So as they go plowing down to, like, the platform, and it's like, we see people. So it's very interesting when they described it. It's like, there's tons of humans here, there's little weird little creatures, and it's like, so what was Elsie talking about then? Why was she saying that that planet was already extinct? Like, why was she describing it like that? And when they're calling out for the professor, they're like, where is Professor Wise right now? This is where we get the controversial part, which a lot of people were freaking out because you get the wow, like you get the whole fairy tale wow. There's an etchy part in this chapter where we get to see through a little bit. He puts on these goggles and it shows, oh shit, yeah, like Happy, like is a cat, like he's a like a cyborg, pretty much a robot. And we see this is even the, I would say, Hero's done way worse shit. We're probably gonna see way worse shit. This is fucking tame compared to some of the stuff I've seen him do in some chapters, and what I've seen from like the Teleru motherfucker and the you know, E.N.D guy. Like we see like a little bit, and it's literally just to the chest there, and it's like no nips, no nothing. We just get to see a little bit of the old chest, and it's just like, what the hell are you doing right now, Shiki, and all that. And it's like she's not even like really embarrassed about it because she don't know about it. It's just like, come on, just stop goofing around. Then Wise steps up. This is not the Wise we know, who is the old man, and it's like, what the hell are you doing in my house and all that? We're looking for Professor Wise and all that. Where is he and all that? It's like, where is Wise Steiner? He fixed me up, and this young kid that looks like the same age as Rebecca and Shiki, and it's like, who the hell are you guys? I'm Wise Steiner. What the hell are you doing in my house? Then the really weird part of this chapter happens. We go 20,000 years in the future. This immediately takes us to how it's being described, and we look at like the we compare the actual like rubble that's there. It kind of shows that like we're on planet Nouma, because there is the same sort of buildings and sort of like debris as there was in the chat. Now, like when we look at this, they describe how they found two human corpses. They found a male and a female. They describe right now, like, as they are praying to Mother, so Mother is still a thing or a concept, as they describe her leading these souls to the blue paradise. We find what is seemingly Rebecca or Happy's little heart, little cube, the little B cube, and there is something written on it, and it is Eden's 0. In front of them is like this destroyed moon that's like tethering upon each other. It's like, so what the hell happened? Like, what the hell happened to lead to this event? What is the blue paradise? What has happened to Weiss right now? Now, this is the thing. The concept of time travel has happened before in Fairy Tail. It has happened before in Rave. All of his series seem to be having like this kind of thing in turn. Like, the way I think Rave handled it was really well. Like, I'm kind of glad that they didn't forcefully bring it back in like in the last arc of Fairy Tail. It was like it was all in its contained arc for the most part. Time travel, so I'm fine with it. Although the Grand Magic game, that's not my issues that I have with the Grand Magic game. There's other things in that arc. The time travel stuff is fine to me. What then is happening to Weiss then? Like, that's not the old man that we knew. So either A, like I was, like he has somehow invented something that has made him youthful again, that has turned him into like his original prime youth. This has affected him by the fact that he has clearly like lost his memory for the most part, but then in fact like he still remembers stuff, that this is his house, this is his stuff, and what's going on with this place. He is either time traveled, where it's like the one Weiss has swapped with the other, so he's now in the future, like he's now in the past and future. Like, we don't know what really happened, and that's kind of a weird thing. It's like, what happened to the original Weiss then? Because we've only seen him for like a tiny panel, and clearly he's going to be a bit of the prominent character in like this stuff. And like Heroes setting up like having the three of these characters showing off on like on his Twitter and everything, and showing off like that this is going to be one of our new main members that we're probably going to be focusing on. Plus, it shows a little bit that he's using like a very old-fashioned kind of gun as well. Like he's using sort of like a revolver. So makes me wonder as well if that's a little bit more hint of that what's happening. Plus, he has got that suitcase that we did see Rebecca have in the like the cover page when we first saw the first thing for E.N.D. So makes me wonder what exactly that's going to be later on as well. Like what's exactly in that thing. Why is Weiss young? Like this chapter was like, it set up a lot of things, and especially the mother part that caught me interesting, where it's like people 20,000 years later consider Mother a god, like goddess, like entity, like, or like a religious like factor. Like that's something, and like they're mentioning, and does that have anything to like, is she connected to the Blue Paradise? And like I really like this chapter. Like I, out of all the things, it's like it didn't need like the edginess is the least offensive version of it I've seen. I think honestly that like I've seen worse stuff even from like early Theater. Like people think like it got bad at like at where everyone else says it, where it's like Tartarus, like Grand Magic Games or there, and it's like no, I remember the earlier chapters where you see Lucy in a fucking maid outfit and stuff like that, and it's like this is tame. This is really like tame on that, and I honestly, I see that a lot from Shonen Magazine. Like, even when I was reading the issue that I have behind me, and I'm like, oh, just a lot of these guys just do it. It's in Sins, it's in all of them. It's like, it might just be a thing. Obviously, it depends on the author, but I think that might be something that also is kind of pushed, because there are, I mean, their front covers that they have for Shonen Magazine literally have like Japanese women in swimsuits, so you can kind of tell what kind of audience they're going for. So it's like, like, again, it affects the story, and I think, again, that's something I would like to just give for context, because, let's be honest, a lot of this is meant for pervy fucking, you know, like, teenagers and to, like, young adults, so, yeah, I would definitely say, like, on that, is like, as long as it doesn't ruin a chapter for me, and it's like, this is the most prominent part of the chapter, and it's, like, either uncomfortable with a character with, like, in this scenario, or if this is just here just to waste time. And like again, it was a panel and it wasn't offensive to me, so like, I think people were way overreacting when it came to the like with this whole single panel, because like I think Lucy got probably treated worse when it came to the whole ecchi factor, and I really don't want Rebecca to like. I'm fine with like sexy, appealing characters. Of course, I mean, look at me. I fucking talk about harem shows. Look at fucking me. But it's like I don't want everyone. Like, it's fine to have that character that is your huge, big sex symbol of like, you know, she is this. That's her part of her character. She thinks she's just a beautiful character. So that's something you can do. But again, like, it's an interesting topic, I always find, whenever it comes up. And the same thing with, like, a lot of stuff in this chapter. This chapter was just interesting to me, where it's like, we're seeing a familiar concept, perhaps, coming back, where we're seeing a different version of a character that we don't know, but it's like, this is the first time we've got to see him, and it's like, you can see that he's quite brash, and, like immediately he's like, people are broken into my house, what's going on? And it's like, he's immediately, his kind of first thing is like, you know, I'm Weiss-stein, get the hell out of my house for the most part. Like, I want to know if he's used an experiment of some kind, because we know he's a scientist. Did he fuck around with time travel? What the hell is happening 20,000 years from now? Why is Mother being regarded as some like goddess, like entity? Like, already when she was brought over, from what we know prior 20,000 years, we know that she was kind of like this weird symbol or something, or people kind of idolize her, but we've never really seen it in a religious way. So makes me wonder about like Mother a lot and the Blue Paradise. But I want to know what you guys thought about this chapter, because like I said, I thought this was definitely a very interesting chapter, and I think this is definitely the stinger. This is going to be the stinger one that we're going to have for the first volume. So he definitely want to delete something off there for like the first volume of the E.N.D. Zero, where it's like, when people read this, it's like, well, fuck, I have to know about the next chapter now. I gotta be reading the issues, like, so yeah, definitely probably the best way to leave off with the first volume. The first volume is gonna be very interesting and all that. And I can't wait to pick it up when it comes out around about like October time. So yeah, I really look forward to that. It's all for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys though next time.